Welcome back to Truth or Recon. I'm Agent D. Baker, a retired narcotics detective, SWAT team member, and U.S. Navy combat veteran of OEF and OIF. With years of real-world experience in high-stakes environments, I have seen firsthand the dangers that lurk both in our communities and now increasingly online. These conversations can get raw, they can get heavy, and sometimes they may not be suitable for children, so consider this your disclaimer. But if you care about truth, justice, and accountability, then you're in the right. What's up, everybody? Hope everyone's having a good, Wednesday evening so far. Got a lot going on to discuss tonight between what's going on in Mexico, which we've discussed previously a few times. And if anyone has any questions on Nancy Guthrie, don't think there's any real major updates or anything on that, then definitely going to be talking some tonight about Britney Stapleton. If you're not familiar with the Gulf Coast Stapletons, you're going to get pretty familiar with them tonight. And probably, depending on time, Walker County, Alabama Sheriff Nick Smith and his nonsense that is going on, which is not surprising, but still unbelievable. So I saw a headline that said, somebody said they kicked the media out of the area, talking about Nancy Guthrie's house. So did they kick the media like out of the neighborhood or just out from her, in front of her house? Yeah, that's probably just because of the neighbors. I mean, it would not be nice or fun to live in that neighborhood right now, I'm sure, and I'm sure it's getting on the neighbors' nerves. I couldn't imagine. But I understand why the media is there too, obviously. What I think about the new suits that showed up at Nancy's house, I don't know. I just saw that. Did that just happen this evening, or was that earlier today? And I just missed it earlier. Okay, so just no parking and tents. Yeah, because they'd set up homes there pretty much, the media had, which again is understandable, but so they can still be out there with their cameras, just everything else. But yeah, I don't know. I think the sheriff out there of that county, Chris Nanos, I think he is hindering this investigation even more than anyone realizes. Honestly, the more little tidbits I hear from certain people, and then piecing that together, I think it's way worse than we even think. And that's why the investigation is where it is right now. Now, I have no doubt in my mind on that. With the video they have and the amount of manpower that the FBI has in that area, if it was, there's no way they wouldn't be further than what they are if it wasn't for him. No way. Thank you, Stephanie. I appreciate that. Nancy ran away from her. I don't know what that means. But no, Nancy didn't run away. We have video. Of abductors. White van pulled in the garage and shut the door. People are speculating it might have been her kids looking in the house. That sounds more, and I don't know, this is speculation, obviously, but that sounds more like possibly some more forensics they're doing. Family. So from now on, any big case that happens is going to be tied to the Epstein files, right? That's where we are now. Without any other ties whatsoever, with or let me say this, with zero evidence of that, it's got to be related to Epstein files. There was a bad car crash not too far down the street from where I lived the other day, and I figured it had something to do with the Epstein files. That's the first thing that popped in my mind. And I hope it wasn't the family or just civilians in there hanging out in that house for 6 hours today. Again, surely that's not the case. But with the sheriff, you know what? It's a possibility. He's ruined that crime scene from the very beginning, and I could give him a little pass on the first day, but we're coming up on close to a month into this, and he still doesn't understand. He still doesn't comprehend crime scene integrity, and it's crazy. The amount of, he's let the pool people go there, landscapers. It's unbelievable. I've never seen anything like it. I just don't. I don't understand it, nor will I ever, and I'm sure no one does. Well, I should be very concerned. I am, but you understand the Epstein files. A lot of that stuff's from over 20 years ago, and whatever it is at this point as far as what's happened. It's not like it's nobody's still on the island. So here's my biggest issue with the Epstein files. Number one, I completely understand why they didn't want to just put them out like they did, and nor should they have. That should have never happened. It's the only time I've ever had more respect for the Democrats versus the Republicans in them doing something, because the Democrats refused to put them out and was not going to. I wish the Republicans would have been the same way, because all it's done is caused way more confusion. And now you have millions of people that have absolutely zero idea how to investigate anything. No offense to anyone, but if you've never actually investigated something, you don't have a clue how it works just because you've watched a couple TV shows. And so there's a name in the Epstein files, and people take that and run with it. Just because someone's name was mentioned in there. You have zero context of how it was mentioned in there or why. Subject, nothing. You just hear, oh, so-and-so's name was in there, so they're a child predator. That's ridiculous. If it's actual emails that you're seeing between whoever and Epstein, and it looks bad, okay. That's pretty good evidence that that person's probably a POS and possibly a child predator. I'll give you that. And there's quite a bit of that in there. If it's from an anonymous tip, it's worth zero, nothing, and does not mean anything to me. I worked in investigations. I was a detective for a very long time. The amount of just crazy, absolute nonsense tips you get would blow your mind. And another thing, a lot of people that call in tips on things like that, they are in very bad mental health. And they come up with a bunch of stuff in their head, and then they call or they submit a tip saying this and that. That doesn't implement anyone in anything. Does it show guilt whatsoever? It's worthless. An anonymous tip in anything, an anonymous tip in the Epstein files, just by itself, is absolutely worthless. And there's millions of people that don't understand that. That's why I can't talk to anyone about the Epstein files unless it's someone that is an experienced investigator, because they understand and they comprehend how things work. If it's someone else, you just don't get it. And I'm not saying you should. I'm not downing you for that. It would be like me walking into a surgery and them saying, here, remove this person's gallbladder. You probably wouldn't want me doing that. Nor would you want my opinion on it. It's the same thing. But I've been watching The Pit, and I think I could do surgery. And I am an EMT, so I think I could. But that's my issue with the Epstein files. What other platforms am I on? I'm on YouTube, TikTok, and Facebook. Saying Epstein is alive is, I'm going to be nice. That does not make any sense whatsoever. I do not believe for one second he took his own life. But he's not alive. There was a lot of people that didn't want him alive. That's why he's not alive. Did I stay at a Days Inn? No, I stayed at the, the Holiday Inn Express. Y'all, I'm usually not this sarcastic all the time. It's just these Epstein files get me riled up. That is exactly how most, and listen, that is exactly how most of the anonymous tips that I have read in the Epstein files go. My brother's uncle's cousin's grandfather's mechanic heard from a barmaid that so-and-so did this. And that's not that much of an exaggeration from some of the ones I read. Like one about Trump is, my neighbor's brother from 35 years ago told me that his girlfriend was at a party. That's exact words, by the way. I remember it because I read it so many times it took me that many times to read it to really understand what it was saying. And so that tip is worthless. absolutely were, but that is a lot of them. I mean, they really are that bad. And the worst part about that one, I saw some people commenting, when you call someone a child predator, that's a very serious accusation, and you should not do that unless you have factual proof, right? You shouldn't. Nobody wants to be called that. It's the worst thing, in my opinion, you could be called. That's the worst crime there is. And whether you like Trump or don't, you calling him a child predator with zero proof, it shows your ignorance. And that'd be the same. That'd be like me calling Joe Biden a child predator. I have no proof of that. I'm not going to call him that. He mentioned at some point he took showers with his daughter or something. What does that mean, though? Could mean a bunch of different things. I'm not going to call anyone that, no matter how bad I hate them, without proof. But someone was saying that, and I said, send me, and they're like, it's in the Epstein files. I said, perfect. If it is, show me, because I will start speaking out against him today. Dead serious. I don't care who you are. If you participated in that, I'm not going to be a fan of yours at all, and I'm going to call you out. I said, so send me what you saw in the Epstein files that proves that. And they sent me a private message with that anonymous tip. Not making that up. It was my neighbor's brother of 35 years ago said his girlfriend was at a party once and saw, or this happened to her. That's what it said. And that was someone posted on social media that they knew for a fact he was a child predator. Like, what in the world, people? Again, no matter how much you dislike someone, don't make up stuff on them. If they're that bad of people that you don't like them that much, you shouldn't have to make up anything about them. Just say why you don't like them. Don't make up stuff. Now, we're going to talk about someone that's in complete denial of her husband being a child predator. There's a lot of factual proof that he is. So, and that's one thing we're going to talk about. Do I think they're close to something since the FBI was back out? I don't know. At this point, I don't know, because whatever happened the last time where they executed the search warrants at the house a couple miles from Nancy's on that late either Friday night or Saturday night, I would have sworn, I did too. I said, we're going to hear a major update tomorrow, because there was too much action there for there not to be some legitimacy to that. And then we didn't. Now, that doesn't mean something big didn't happen there, but we don't know still, because the sheriff refuses to do press conferences because he doesn't understand he doesn't understand running a case at all. Oh man. Reminds me of being in. It reminds me of being a kid in school, and the teacher would say a sentence, then you'd whisper. Yeah, that's the telephone game. We've talked about that a lot. Would say a sentence, and then you'd whisper what you heard in the next person. And by the time it got to the last person, yeah, I call that a telephone game. And yeah, we talked about that the other night. I actually brought that up a lot, and that's what's happening a lot, and that's real. I mean, that's literally scientific. That happens. It's impossible not to. Word of mouth. That's why in the legal system they call it hearsay, because word of mouth is not that reliable at all, and it doesn't mean that the person that told you knew they were lying, because a lot of times they don't. It's just, again, it's scientific. It's impossible for the information, for the data to stay the exact same 3 or 4 people down the road. If the sheriff will ever step out of the way, which he hasn't yet, he's probably not going to as long as he's in office, then you may be right, Tina. Tina said, honestly, don't think that they will ever know exactly what happened. Talking about the Nancy Guthrie case, and I'm telling y'all, that guy has ruined this investigation. Now that doesn't mean it's not salvageable, but it's an uphill battle, obviously, and going to be for the FBI for sure. Question: I noticed the foliage used to cover the camera on the porch. Did they test it for DNA? I don't know. I don't even know if that's. I don't know if you would, considering he had on a couple pair of gloves. Now, he can have touch DNA. He's still on those gloves from himself. But on plants, I don't know. I'm not a forensic expert as far as foliage. I don't know that you could or not. But there's plenty of other things inside the house and the doorknobs and the and wall and stuff like that they could test. But and what I mean, there could still be touch DNA on his gloves, because people don't understand. You could glove up all you want, but unless you are extremely careful, and in that situation nobody's going to be that careful, you could still pick up your own DNA, meaning if at any point you handled that backpack without gloves on, which more than likely you did sometime at some point, then your touch DNA is on that backpack. Then you put the backpack on, then you put the gloves on, then you touch the backpack again. Now the gloves have your touch DNA on them. That's why it's extremely hard to not leave DNA at a scene. Very, very hard. talk to us about LiDAR or searching where areas that have already been searched for someone dumping a body thinking it's been cleared already. I don't know that I fully understand your question, or I don't know what side of that question you're really asking as far as I don't guess it's actually a question. So are you saying that it's possible for someone to search an area and then the abductors know that area has been searched, so then they go and dump the body? Is that what you're saying? And that's possible, but I think that would have to be, for someone to do that, I think that would have to be a very sophisticated criminal. And I don't think the people behind this was extremely sophisticated at all. But it is possible. But you always go and you search again. You always have different eyes searching. You could have 3 or 4 people search an area and they all miss the same thing. That is very possible, especially in wide open spaces like the desert. I mean, hell, that could happen in a car, not for a body, obviously, but for an item could be sitting in the floorboard and 3 people not see it at all. And then the 4th person come in and see it. And explaining that in layman's terms, the way I explain it is our eyes don't see 100% of what our brain is perceiving. And you have to understand that. So we have this big space in between our eyes, obviously. And so our eyes are only picking up, let's say, 60% of the picture. Maybe 70. Our brain is piecing together the rest of that and putting that whole picture together. So our brain is only adding in that picture of what it thinks is there. And that's the best way I think I could make it make sense to most people. That's why you could be looking for your car keys or your wallet in your house, and you look everywhere and you just can't find them. And then you ask your wife to look, and she gets up and she finds them in a minute because you literally never saw them, even though they were right there. And it's very common, and it's impossible to overcome. It just is. And like, I have to teach that a lot, teaching when I'm teaching people to search vehicles and houses, especially a vehicle. If you're searching a vehicle for contraband, if one officer searches that car, there's a really good chance they're going to miss something. You always have at least 2 search because of that. And again, it's scientific. It just is what it is, and there's no way around that. But if you're in a helicopter and flying over the desert, searching in a vast area, that's the same exact thing. So that same area needs to be searched multiple times by multiple different people in order to actually be cleared. What if the person in the video is a distraction? That doesn't make any sense to me. I've never heard of a case of anything like that. I think you're way overthinking on that. Like, what kind of distraction? I've had other people say that, and I don't even understand it, honestly. I'm not trying to be a smart ass. I don't understand I don't understand what people mean exactly when they say, what if it's a distraction? I don't understand that. But so looking for the wrong person, but why do you need to, I mean, why would you put another person out there? You wouldn't involve another person in your case, well, I call it case. You wouldn't involve another person in your crime needlessly. The more people that knows, the better chance you're going to get caught. I mean, that's well known. You want the least amount of people involved and to know what's going on as possible. So you're not going to needlessly add someone and say, hey, I need you to go walk this house. And because now there's a $2 million reward. If that were the case, you don't think that person that they said, hey, I just need you to go walk, would go and tell, hey, this person asked me to do that. I don't, that again, doesn't make sense to me at all. The FBI has taken over as much as they can, but no, they don't have the authority to just run the sheriff out. Unfortunately, they need his cooperation to an extent. Savannah not worried about. I mean, I'm not even going to repeat that. That's one thing. This is a real person. This is a real family. This is a real person that's been abducted from her house in the middle of the night. It is very easy for us to forget that when we're looking at this and talking about this, because we're used to watching movies. And it's very easy for us to forget that this is real. And the things you say, you're talking about real people that are going through the most traumatizing, horrible thing in their life ever. They're going through something that most people will never have to go through. And so just throwing things out there, I don't like that. Now, again, if there's some evidence at all, we can talk about it. But most of the things people are saying about this case, they literally just make it up in their heads and it sounds good to them. And so they throw it out there. You shouldn't do that. This is real people. There's a big difference in sympathy and empathy. And we don't have enough empathy when we should. You need to put yourself in that family's shoes for just a minute and think how you would feel if you got on the internet and started seeing some of the things some people are saying without any evidence whatsoever, on top of what you're already going through. We just seem to lose sight of that. And I understand. Again, it's human nature. What was up with the delay on the $1 million reward? There shouldn't be $1 million reward. If someone's going to do it, they're going to do it for 200 grand. They're not going to be sitting there going, okay, I know and I want to turn them in, but I just need $1 million instead of 200 grand. That's not how our minds work. $200,000 is a lot of money to most. And in the grand scheme of things, $200,000 is not that big of a difference from $1 million. Now, if you're talking about $10,000 to $1 million, that's a big difference. I can understand that could change someone's mind for sure. 200 grand to $1 million, it's not going to change anyone's minds. If they didn't turn them in with 200 grand, they're not going to with $1 million. So the only way it's going to happen now is if someone that didn't know something before finds out and learns something and then turns it in, or their conscience just keeps weighing on them and they decide to do the right thing. It is to me. Are you talking about the 200 grand, or there's not a difference between if you've ever had $1 million at one time and you've ever had 200 grand at one time, you could understand it. In the grand scheme, there's not that really big of a difference. And one thing I mean by that is, say if you don't have much money, say if you're financially struggling, and you've never really had a lot of money or anything, if you get $1 million dropped on you in your lap, you're going to blow through that as fast as you are the 200 grand. And you're not going to have a lot to show for it. I've seen that happen so many times. I'd even say 5 million to 200 grand. If you've not really ever had much, you're going to blow through that just as fast as you would 200 grand. In fact, there's a chance you might save a little if you just had 200 grand. That may go longer and further than 5 million. I've had that. I've thought that. I brought that up before. Is it possible the door perp possibly has mid-level autism? And I kind of got that from watching that after the first few times I watched it. And I can't say that that's for sure, that he for sure does. But I would say it would not surprise me if once he's found and identified that he doesn't. Her husband worked for the Clintons. That should tell you everything. Do you know how many people have worked for the Clintons? You don't. Over 10,000 people. Over 10,000 people. That's a lot of people. Just because someone worked for the Clintons does not mean anything. I mean, that's like Jerry Jones going and commit a crime and then somebody say, Agent Baker was probably involved because he's watched the Cowboys a few times. He's went to a few Cowboys games. One time he even had his picture made with him. And again, I'm not trying to be a smartass. I'm just being real. I mean, that's just a good example of what you're saying. But so my main point is there has to be more for you to come to that conclusion. There has to be more for you to even speculate that. There has to be. By the way, I'm a big Eagles fan, not a Cowboys fan. Just needed to make that clear. This is a good question. What do you think about the Arizona governor and Tucson mayor not speaking on this? Or have they? And I just don't know. If they have, I don't know either. And that is a good question. And I'm very disappointed in both. Those are the same two. Those same two should be putting a bunch of pressure on Nanos to step out of this investigation, which could possibly be happening behind the scenes. But if I'm the governor of Arizona right now and I see what's going on, I'm going to privately go to Nanos and ask him to step away. And if he refuses to, then I'm going to make it public. And I'm going to say, look, I've gone to him and said, you need to step away from this. Let's let the FBI handle this. And he refuses. And I would call him out. And that's what should be happening for sure. Are you talking about in my chat? I've got mods. And they're pretty good. The statement was, I don't understand why some of the YouTube streamers don't have mods. Some of the chat people are so disrespectful, mean, and telling people to shut up. It makes me not want to be in this chat. I haven't seen that. But I've got mods over there. It's on YouTube mods, by the way, but I haven't seen anything like that, but I could have missed it. I wonder why Internal Affairs has not looked into Nanos. Well, Internal Affairs works for Nanos. Nanos doesn't have a boss. The people, the voters are his boss. Oh, you think they're talking about JLR? He doesn't have any mods? He'll have 60-something thousand people watching. He doesn't have any mods? That's crazy. The FBI has investigated that sheriff's office. That's why. That's literally why Nanos doesn't like them. I want to move on to talking about Britney Stapleton for a bit. So for those of you who are not familiar with Britney Stapleton of the Gulf Coast Stapletons. They were a couple on TikTok. She has a little over 100,000 followers on TikTok, and they had about 80-something thousand when her husband Josh was on there. They're from the Gulf Shores, Pensacola, Orange Beach area, Alabama, Florida line, around in there. And they just made little videos of their everyday life, riding around on their boat and going to fancy restaurants and things like that, like the perfect couple. Then in July of 2025, Josh had to report to prison, and no one knew anything. No one had a clue this guy had been indicted or nothing. Because he pled guilty to CSAM, which is really, really horrible images of very, very small prepubescent children. Evil, evil, evil man. Horrible. And all these people have been following them, had no idea, and then this comes out. And so immediately people started feeling sorry for Britney Stapleton, his wife, thinking she probably didn't know. Well, she cleared that up very quickly, because right after that, she put out a long video, response video to that, saying, I knew. And come to find out, and this is her words, I'm not putting this in her mouth, on that video, she actually stated, or don't get me wrong, may not have been that video, but one of the ones soon after, if it wasn't that one, she said, her and Josh they were not a couple at all. They knew each other through work. They were both State Farm agents. And so they were kind of acquaintances. And then in 2018, or maybe 19, she sees he's been arrested for this. And in her words, I knew him, and I knew he would never do anything like that. So I called him and checked on him. And then soon after that, we started dating. And then in 2023, they got married, right in the middle of all this, of him undergoing this investigation. And so, in other words, she saw, you can't make this up, a guy that she knew gets arrested for, again, in my opinion, the worst crime you could commit. And she reaches out to him, and then her words, I told him I was not going to leave his side. He told me, look, you don't want to be involved with me. This is going to be bad. And I told him, I'm not going to leave your side. I trust you, and I know you would never do anything like this. Well, the problem is, there's a couple of problems. One of the problems is he pled guilty. And the statements he made when first getting investigated are horrible. Horrible. Trigger warning. Some of the things we're about to talk about very sensitive to some people. And now I will keep it as PG as possible, but you're still going to understand what I'm saying to an extent. So if that's something that really, really is going to get you bad, I guess that's the best way I can put it, then that's your warning. But these images, and he was caught uploading and downloading, meaning that he was himself putting a lot of these images out on the internet and loading them into some of these child predator forums where they all get together and look at these. And these images consisted of, again, I'm going to try to keep this as PG as possible, but of, again, prepubescent children being tortured in a S way. Horrible, horrible things being done to them. That's all I'll say about that. And then his statement to agents when they interviewed him about this, he stated one of his statements. He stated that yes, he had pleasured while looking at these images himself. So again, I don't think you can get more sick than that. Again, an ICAC unit is who investigated this, and that's the Internet Crimes Against Children. They are the best of the best. They know what they're doing, and they don't make mistakes. They don't, because it's black or white. There's no, I wonder, no, they can see what IP addresses stuff is uploaded from and downloaded from, and then they can go and seize those devices and see that those images have been viewed on there, how many times. I mean, it's you can't make a mistake with the technology they have. If they get your computer, they can literally play back everywhere your mouse has ever moved, ever, no matter what's been deleted on that computer. Everything can be pulled back off of that. I've seen it numerous times. So again, there's no mistakes made here. On top of them having that hard physical evidence, he admitted to it, literally. And his reasoning was, I didn't know it was illegal. That's what he said. I didn't know it was illegal. Yeah. A college-educated insurance agent didn't know it was illegal? Yes, he did. He doesn't think it should be illegal. I've gathered that from hearing other things he has stated. And his wife doesn't think it should be illegal. And I'm going to prove that to you. I've made quite a bit of videos and podcasts on them. And then one night we were lucky enough for Britney Stapleton to get on my live, and she let me interview her on my live, which was a huge mistake on her part. It's not smart. And I picked her apart. And some of the things she said in that interview are sick and anger me to no end. And I've made a podcast on those things that she stated in that interview. And it's right there, her words, not mine. One of the things she said in there is that she cares more about getting her husband, who, oh, by the way, is only having to do 5 years in prison and then 15 years probation. Yes, only 5 years, which is unacceptable in itself. But her statement was she cares more about getting him out of prison than she does the victims of those crimes. Again, I'll play you the video in a minute. You hear her say that. Again, there's no mistake. One thing I also want to add, before anyone knew about this, when Josh was still out and they were making normal videos, they had around 80-something thousand followers. Since he has gone to prison and all this has come out, she now has around 110,000 followers. What is wrong with you people that follow her? You're paying her. And people want to talk about the Epstein files? This girl is right here doing this and laughing in everyone's face. And 110,000 of you are still following her. Why is there not a bigger uproar about this? Does no one care what happened to these children that we know for a fact happened to them? The worst things you could possibly ever even imagine? And yes, she's still gaining followers. And companies are paying her to promote their products. You want me to tell you never mind. I'm going to calm down about it. I don't understand that. She is making a living off of TikTok, literally. That's how she pays her bills, per her words. She doesn't have another job because we put enough pressure on State Farm to pull her agency from her. TikTok doesn't care. All the companies paying her to promote their products doesn't care. And at least 110,000, somebody said it's closer to 125,000 people now, do not care. And you go to her comments, and there are numerous females. She doesn't have any male followers. She doesn't have many male followers. It's mostly females. And they're saying, I love you. You're the best. You're awesome. I don't get it. I do not get it. Anyway, Britney doesn't think this is a serious crime at all. She will not even admit there are actual victims. And that's what I'm about to show you. Because last night, she was interviewed in a live with what's his name? Robbie Harvey, who has over 3 million followers on TikTok. And he's a cool guy. I've watched him some. He does pretty good investigative work and knows what he's doing. And he doesn't believe her. He calls her out in a more polite way than I do by far. But he had her on his live last night and pretty much interviewed her, but definitely threw her some soft. I'm not going to judge him. Again, he's good at what he does. Definitely different than I do in that. But anyway, some of the things she said last night just shows you how sick she is. Drama sells. Oh, this is not drama. This is child predator. So people that are following her, you're contributing to that world. I hope you understand that. And there's no excuse around it. There's not. This was over an hour long, and I've only got some bits and pieces here and there. I've not reviewed the full interview. I watched a lot of it live last night. So this is just a few things I caught from it that I'm going to point out. And of course, she's the victim. She plays the victim. But anyway, at one point, and it'll probably take me a while. I've got about 30 minutes of footage here. So, and I don't remember exactly where it is, where he asked her, you do understand, and not word for word here again, I'm going to play it, but you do understand there are actual victims in this. And I want to say her comment was, no comment. You can't deny they're victims. But the most telling thing in her interview with him last night that I got from it and that I picked up on, another thing about her is she is pleading his innocence and saying he didn't do this. But she's not allowed to talk about the evidence they have proving that, which is the dumbest thing. And she doesn't understand that. Trust me, if I'm wrongfully convicted in prison, my wife's not going to keep it a secret of the evidence that would get me out of that. There's no court, and I've asked lawyers, quite a few of them, about this, and they all agree. Like, at this point, he's in prison. There's nothing, she couldn't mess up the investigation because there's no investigation, but she acts like she can't talk about any of it, which is a lie. She's lying. There is nothing. They have no evidence to prove his innocence. There's not. And she knows that. But she's doing that. She's saying this stuff to buy time. And a lot of people buy into it for some reason because they don't understand. That doesn't make any sense. If your spouse or your best friend or your family member is in prison for something they didn't do, and you have the evidence proving that, you're going to come out with it. You're going to want to show the world. Look, he didn't do this, and here's how. But she's not allowed to talk about any of it. It's a lie. But anyway, she stated numerous times, not in these words, but I'm going to put it together for you and show you that he's not getting out of prison early. He's not going to lose this conviction. He's going to be a child predator for the rest of his life and registered, and because there is no evidence proving otherwise. And so that's the biggest thing I got out of her interview last night. And I just want to make everyone aware of that there is nothing proving his innocence. Again, if there was, she would be putting that out. And there's another part in here where she literally plays the victim of, people just don't understand what I'm going through. This has made my life hell. Yet, Britney, no one cares. No one. You put yourself in that situation, first off. But another thing that I got from this is, in her previous videos and numerous times, and I think even during when I interviewed her, she has stated, when I saw he got arrested, I knew he would never do anything like this, that there was some mistake. So I got with him. I stood by his side, and I know he didn't do this. He would never do this. Then last night, again, he asked her some really good questions last night. And last night, she said, I didn't just blindly believe him. I checked myself, and before we got married, I told him before I would marry him that he had to give me access to all the case files, and I had to have full access to his attorneys and ask all the questions I wanted to. But which one is it, Britney? So you didn't believe him You had to verify it yourself before you would believe him, because it's not what you've been saying. It can't be both, Britney. It can't. Either you know for a fact he's not the person that would ever do this and you believed him, or you didn't. And the statement she made last night is saying, I didn't believe him. I had to verify myself before I would believe him. And I didn't verify myself until right before we were getting married, which was 3 years after we had been dating and living together. So if it's true that she had to verify herself before she fully believed him, she is saying that she reached out to someone who, as far as she knew, was a child predator. And she started dating him. And she stood by his side, and she lived with him and was in a romantic relationship with him for 3 years before she verified. And on top of that, let's just play it because there's so much and I'm going to leave stuff out. So, see, I think this is the... Let's do this one first.
Make sure you're okay. Can I come to you? He was like...
And I was not being a good investigator last night. When I saw this, I should have immediately started a recording, but I didn't. It took me a minute, and then for her to say some really dumb things for me to go, oh, shit, I need to be recording this. But he has stated he's going to post the whole video, the whole interview. I don't know if he has yet, but I'm going to get the whole thing and then break it all down. But for now, this is what we have.
Come make sure you're okay. Can I come to you? He was like, please do. I met him at the coast. He got out of jail. He went to the coast to get away. I met him there. He told...
So this is her telling the story of she saw in the newspaper or on the news where he got arrested, and she reached out to him.
Told me everything. I mean, from start to finish. He's like, this is what I've been arrested for. This is what they came in for. I'm clueless on what's going on. He's like, I know where this could have happened. I can't say too much, but he's like,
again, she's always says, I can't say too much, but she says, he said he knew where this could have happened. What? That makes me think there's more that he's done that they don't even know. Because when she makes a statement of, he said he thinks he knew where this could have happened, it happened online as far as the charges he's pled guilty to and that he was indicted for. On the internet. From his computer at his house. So that stuck out to me. I'm like, what? I think I know where this could have happened. It's not a logical statement in this at all. But again, also keep in mind, she could just be making this whole story up. And they didn't have these conversations.
I promise to God I didn't do this, and I'll provide proof. And if I were you, I would stay far away from me because this isn't going to end nicely. And I was like, I would not leave your side by this. I will remain your good friend. So we were there. There's that. We remained good friends. I think he got arrested in April. We probably started dating. We were spending all the time together after that because I was worried sick about it.
And this is not funny, but you just have to laugh at times to get through this sanely. She is saying, I mean, think about this. Let's picture her. She's at her house and she sees it on the news or social media, wherever she saw it. Oh my God. I know him. We've hung out a few times with groups of friends. And he's another State Farm agent. I can't believe he's been arrested for this. This is sick. So she's saying that happened, and her first thought was, I need to reach out to him. And she did. In fact, so fast, she was with him the day he got out of jail from it. And she is saying right here, from that day forward, she told him on that day, I'm not leaving your side. I will be here with you through all of this. Who does that to someone that's been arrested for that? Now, if it's a friend of yours, someone you're close with, I could understand you reaching out to them at some point and saying, hey, what the hell happened? And if they don't have a good reason at all of why they're being accused of this, then I'm going to tell them, all right, I'm never going to have anything to do with you again, you piece of shit. I don't care who they are. I don't care who they are if they're involved in this. But I can understand maybe reaching out and saying, please tell me that you have a good excuse for why this is happening. And then from there, but reaching out, going to be with him that day and then never leaving his side again. Very strange.
Got him. And then we always got along great. We just matched. And I was like, I'll be there for you at least as your friend. And we started dating a couple months after that and ended up getting married.
Now, catch what she said. And we just matched. And I think they did. And I think there's a reason she specifically got excited when she saw he had been arrested for this. That's the only thing that makes sense to me.
Like 3 years later, and we've just, honestly, what's crazy is like we never actually had court or any attorney meetings or anything for the full 5+ years until it was time to go to court.
I want to be clear to the...
They didn't have court until it was time to go to court, by the way. She's not the brightest.
People in the comments, and Britney, I'm not breaking anything to her because she knows this. But I want everyone else to know this. Yeah. I don't believe Britney. And I've told you this. I don't believe you. Yeah. I don't believe your husband. And so, but as I've told you, I've seen the yelling in these lives that you do and the drama, and I feel like nothing gets done.
And I completely agree with him on that. And that's why he does a good interview with her. I fully agree with him on that. It's not an interview if you're sitting there yelling at each other.
So I want people to understand that. I've been very honest with Britney from the very beginning when this story first broke, that I do not believe her at all. And I find it really interesting that even after this, Britney, I mean, you still married him even after the accusations. Let me ask you this. Why do you believe him? Why do you believe you might be lied to?
No, because I am very investigative.
I about fell out of my chair when she said that last night. First off, I've never heard it put that way. I am very investigative. I'm going to have to start using that myself. I'm very investigative.
So I didn't just take Josh's word for it. I'm not that naive. I made sure I spoke to everyone, and I still have. Even after sentencing, I went far. I mean, I went pretty damn far. I've done everything as far as paying out of my own pocket for forensics. I've done everything. So I've seen the forensics that not everybody else gets a chance to see. And I have to be careful or I'll say something that I'm not allowed to, but I wouldn't just naively believe a guy. I mean, honestly, I have too much to lose. I would not just believe someone. I had to see proof. I had to speak to attorney. I even asked to speak to the DA on my own. Like, I asked to speak to the DA.
Did you watch it, Mrs. Hanson? Because she's a big fan of yours. That cracked me up when she was talking about you and your husband. She's an idiot.
Before. I spoke to his attorney. I asked for all of this evidence. I've read through his entire psychosexual analysis. I mean, word for word, every damn word of it. I've read through that. I've read through all the lie detectors. I've read through everything. And mind you, the psychosexual analysis was like,
read through all the lie detectors. How many polygraphs did he have?
the lady's like, I'm going to stand up for you. Like, I've got your.
I want to replay that because I interrupted it there because I want you to catch
his
this.
Attorney, I asked for all of this evidence. I've read through his entire psychosexual analysis. I mean, word for word, every damn word of it. I've read through that. I've read through all the lie detectors. I've read through everything. And mind you, the psychosexual analysis was like, the lady's like, I'm going to stand up for you. Like, I've got your back. Because she knew, you know? So, like,
That's a bullshit statement. That's not how those psychosexual analysis work. The person conducting them is not going to stand up and say, no, I know you didn't do this crime, because that's not what they're asking them about. If you know anything about those and how they work, that's a complete lie. Like, that's not the way that works at all. Again, she is completely full of it.
I didn't just blindly say, oh my gosh, this guy's so attractive. Like, I guess what people fail to understand.
Hold on. Some of my text messages are popping up because I was screen recording from my phone. All right, hold on one second. I can fix that very fast.
To make sure you're okay.
There we go.
Josh has triple the money of Josh. If I've seen the forensics that not everybody else gets a chance to see, and I have to be careful or I'll say something that I'm not allowed to, but I wouldn't just naively believe a guy. I mean, honestly, I have too much to lose. I would not just believe someone. I had to see proof. I had to speak to attorney. I even asked to speak to the DA on my own. Like, I asked to speak to the DA before. I spoke to his attorney. I asked for all of this evidence. I've read through his entire psychosexual analysis. I mean, word for word, every damn word of it. I've read through that. I've read through all the lie detectors. I've read through everything. And mind you, the psychosexual analysis was like, the lady's like, I'm going to stand up for you. Like, I've got your back. Because she knew, you know? So, like, I didn't just
She knew what?
blindly say, oh my gosh, this guy's so attractive. Like, I guess what people fail to understand is that I am, aside from looks, because I'm just going to be honest, I'm not some ugly troll. I am very successful. I am very well, like, mannered. And I'm very nice to others.
I would normally not make fun of anyone for talking like this, but she deserves anything. First off, I'm very successful. I guess that depends on what your definition of a success is. Not my definition of success. That's for sure. This is not what I would want to be successful from. And then she's trying to describe herself, and I'm very well-mannered. What? And first off, she's not. She made a video not long ago of, if you come at me, you better be a perfect 10. You better you better have perfect hair and teeth, and your parents better not be divorced. Like, just weird. I mean, anyway.
Kind human, but also I'm just not a dumbass. I mean, I'm pretty blatant. Like, I say everything I need to say. I do my due diligence. I think of myself as being pretty intelligent. I opened a business at age 21. You know, I've done all these things for myself. I've never relied on anyone. I don't need a man. I don't need Josh at all. I choose to be with Josh, but I could go out tomorrow and find another guy who looks
That's up for debate.
just like Josh, has triple the money of Josh. If I cared about that, I would have left a long time ago. I chose to put myself in the fire of losing everything I have. I've lost my business, everything I worked for. And it's because I stick up for people that I know have been done wrong.
She can't even say that clearly because she knows it's bullshit. I want you to. So she lost everything, and she has, other than TikTok, and she can't even. So let me play that back a little bit.
Josh has triple the money of Josh. If I cared about that, I would have left a long time ago. I chose to put myself in the fire of losing everything I have. I've lost my business, everything I've worked for, and it's because I stick up for people that I know
that I know, and then she's lost because she don't know what to say, because she's making this shit up as she goes, because he is a child predator and she knows that.
Have been done wrongly.
But you do understand what you just said there. You understand how that comes across, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so
yeah, and I'm just being candid though. Like I think because so many people, I see the comments that say she's with him for money, she's blindly in love, and it's like I have to watch my mouth, but I just want to be like, bitch, really? Like I could move on tomorrow if I wanted to. I choose to stay because I know the truth and I stand up for what's right. Like I stand up, I'm loyal to those that I love.
Let me ask you this, and again, we can't go into details, but the truth is there are victims to this story. There are. How do you process that in your mind?
1 second, let me tell Alexa to turn it. Alexa, volume down. That is not something I take lightly. That's why I turned the music off in the background. It's not something I take lightly at all. I would be out there in advocacy programs today. We would have done it 5 years ago. We asked multiple times to be in advocacy programs because it's sick. Listen, the day that Josh got the indictment 3 years later, I remember us just falling to pieces, like reading detail for detail. I think people just think that I just brushed those charges off. I'm disgusted.
No, she's not.
I would never want a child harmed. I would never want anyone harmed.
She's not disgusted, and she proved that in my interview, and I'll play that because that one clip here in a minute after this. She's not disgusted at all at what he did. She doesn't think it's that wrong. And she does downplay it very, very bad, or a lot.
Adult, anyone, but especially children. And I think people just blindly assume that I am okay with it. And I would never want that. I would never allow that. I would never have anyone in my life who were capable of that, because you have to think at the time I had very young cousins and a 15-year-old sister. So I would never in my life surround myself with someone that would harm children. That's sick. And it's brutal. I mean, I think
so much deception in her body language right there and the things she's saying. So much.
Oh man. I mean, the day it happened, the day we read it 3 years later, we were both just like, oh shit, this is awful. And even Josh, I mean, he was like, I promise to God, he was like, I'll take a lie detector any day. I've never seen anything like this.
So, and this question is coming. If that's the case, why did he plead guilty?
Naturally, you plead.
Did you catch that? Why did he plead guilty? Naturally. Literally what she said. You heard it from her. Why? Simple. This is a simple question. Why did he plead guilty? And before she stops to think, her response is naturally. Think about that. What is the only circumstances that it would be natural to plead guilty? Let's see some people in the chat tell me. What are the only circumstances that it would be natural for someone to plead guilty? If they're actually guilty. Anyone disagree with that? Again, that's her words. When she said that last night, that's when I was like, oh my God. Because that hit me hard. Like, she just admitted it. Why did he plead guilty? Naturally. What? She says she's smart. First off, she's not at all. If she had any sense at all, she would not be doing any interviews on this, because she's, again, but that tells you everything. Why did he plead guilty? Naturally.
It's like, oh shit, this is awful. And even Josh, I mean, he was like, I promise to God, he was like, I'll take a lie detector.
And if you promise to God, it's the truth. Y'all know that, right? You can't promise to God if it's not the truth. Or, I swear on my kids, that's got to be the truth. Those pre-statements does not always point to deception, but it's a very high percentage when someone says those things. They're about to not tell you the truth. Not 100%, but very high percentage.
I've never seen anything like this.
So, and you know this question is coming. If that's the case, why did he plead guilty?
Naturally, you plead guilty. His attorney advised
Naturally, you plead guilty.
him to, because he said, if you don't, they're going to put you on trial and you'll be facing up to 20 years. And Josh wanted to plead not guilty. I mean, yeah, he wanted to plead not guilty. And I said, listen.
She's confusing herself and her lies. She said, and Josh wanted to plead not guilty. I mean, yeah, he wanted to plead not guilty.
5 years or 20 years. At the time, I'm 31 years old. I mean, think about it. I would be 51 and he would be 59, or I would be 51 and he.
Very quickly, I want to point out another thing. Right here, she is saying that part of his motive for pleading guilty was because he would only do 5 years in prison versus possibly 20 if convicted in a trial. And I want you to remember that, because towards the end of the interview, she states, we didn't know he was going to actually going to prison. We were told he wasn't. She can't keep up with her own lies.
He'd be like 59 by the time he got out. Like, am I supposed to waste away my entire life? And just being, I mean, he wanted to, but I was just candid with him. I was like, do you want me to waste away all of my years for you to sit in prison for 20 years when the chance, I mean, they're like 5% of people are actually like go to trial. Most people don't go to trial. Usually a lot of people plead not guilty to get out on lesser time.
I'm going to give you a scenario, and you comment however you feel. Yeah. Is it possible that he didn't want this to go to trial because pleading guilty, the evidence doesn't come out? Is it possible he didn't want it to go to trial to hide what he actually did?
Well, if he did it, I would agree. But no, that's not at all it. He was okay with going.
Illogical statement she just made. He asked, is it possible he pled guilty because he didn't want all the evidence to come out? Because all of the evidence comes out in court. And she said, let me play it back, and I want you to listen to what she says to that.
What he actually did?
Well, if he did it, I would agree. But no.
If he did it, I would agree. What? She wants so bad to say, well, yeah, I agree. But she stops herself and she's like, well, I mean, if he did it, I would agree. If I pled guilty to a charge and you ask me, did you plead guilty just so all the evidence wouldn't come out so everyone would see it? You know what my answer would be? No. Not. Well, I mean, if I did it, I would agree with you. What?
That's not at all it. He was okay with going to trial. His attorney overly advised. He was like, I wouldn't do that. they're gonna waste all this money on this trial. You just need to do a non-guilty plea. His attorney down to the last minute also had us not thinking he was not serving time. And I mean, I will say the judge even told us, had this happened 2 counties over in Jones County or wherever, you'd be out on probation, whatever.
This is more proof of she nor Josh thinks this should be illegal. They don't see an issue with it. This is not bad to them. This is her way of downplaying it again. I mean, if it had been a couple counties over, he wouldn't have gotten anything. I mean, this is just a minor charge.
Every place handles things differently. And I mean, even down to his attorney had us believing, and I wouldn't mind saying this to Matt, down to the wire, his attorney had said, well, what day, if you get, like, we had no idea on the day of sentencing. We get there and he says, now, if you were to be sentenced today, what day do you want to report? And I was like, what do you mean sentenced today? What do you mean? And he's asking Josh, and we're looking at each other, and I was like, he's going to be sentenced today? He's like, don't worry about it. He won't have to go away. And I was like,
this is how smart she is. She's saying they were going to a sentencing hearing, keyword sentencing, but she didn't know he was going to be sentenced that day.
What? And then so he said, what day? I was like, well, as far out as possible, because I'm having a heart attack in that moment. And he, anyways, at the end, obviously they end up taking Josh away that day. And I look at Matt and I'm like, what the hell was that about? I didn't think he was leaving today. And he said, well, they don't exactly allow you to self-report in state sentencing. I mean, it was just like down to the wire. We were just getting pulled in circles, not having any damn clue.
I do. By the way, for those of you just joining, Brittany and I live in the same area. You're in Gulf Shores, right?
Pretty dokie. Not too far from them.
Okay, so never mind. We're closer than I thought. So we're actually 15 minutes apart.
Yeah.
So I spoke with some people, some officers in our area that specialize in this content, and I sent them the case, and they reviewed it, and they said it's very difficult. The defense that you are presenting does not match up to the charges.
Yeah.
What's your response to that?
That's okay. I don't have a response to it. I don't know why. I mean, I don't know what they read or what they know.
I don't know what they read or what they know. He said they read the whole case. They read the case file. So everything, whatever happened, they read it.
Well, I just sent them the case and what he's accused of, and they explained to me the process of arresting someone like your husband, and what is required to put someone like that in prison. And so they say that it is extremely rare for there to ever be a mistake. So, and again, I'm just giving you a fair opportunity to respond to that without going into details.
Yeah, I think if I had not seen the forensics and had like about 4 different forensic investigators around the area say that this is not uncommon, that a lot of times they don't want to look at, I got to watch what I say, certain details.
I got to watch what I say. If you're saying there is evidence proving your husband's innocence, why the fuck are you trying to act like you have to keep it a secret? That doesn't make any sense. In any way. There would be no reason to try to keep it secret if it's the truth. If there's factual evidence, it's not going to change just because you say it. It's not. You are lying about this. There is no evidence proving his innocence at all. That's why you can't say it, because it doesn't exist.
I want to dig as deep as this particular guy can go. And there's a reason that this isn't over, There's a reason for that. There's a reason. I mean, had his attorney advised us to pull this particular forensic investigator into court, I think things would be a lot different.
Okay. I think I understand what she's talking about now. They paid a forensic interviewer to interview him. And that person probably said he's not guilty. Yeah. That means a lot. That has a lot of standing. And I don't, I may be wrong, but that kind of sounds like what she's saying. But again, that's worthless. Oh, I paid this person to interview him, and yeah, he's innocent.
His attorney brought the psychosexual analysis therapist or psychiatrist into court like he said he would. Things would be a lot different. I mean, there's a lot of things there.
Things would be a lot different. No, they wouldn't. He pled guilty. There was no court.
You don't know what you don't know. You know, it's not like we deal with this every day.
I don't want to put you on the spot, but do you feel he was fairly represented?
No, absolutely not. No, we've stood by that. I think, listen, I don't think that it was malicious intent. I think that this attorney was originally paid 5+ years ago at this point. Josh was arrested in April of 2020. We went to trial in June? Or not trial, I'm sorry. We went to sentencing in June of 2025. I think he was just ready to throw this shit out because I was driving this man crazy down to the wire. I mean, like all the way down to the final minute, I was driving this man crazy. And I think he was just ready to be done with it. And if I'm being honest, I do think that there was some correlation between him and the DA. He's been a DA before, and we found out a lot of things afterwards.
Newsflash: almost every defense attorney ever started out in the district attorney's office. That's the only way they get trial experience. I'll even go this far: if you have a defense attorney that never worked as a prosecutor, I wouldn't want them going to trial for me.
So yeah, I don't think he was fairly represented at all.
Let's shift a little bit because you have obviously
he pled guilty. You don't think he's fairly represented? That doesn't make any sense.
It seems like you've kind of embraced the attacks. Do you feel like the criticism towards you is unfair?
I'll say this. If I were on the outside and I were you or anyone else looking in and not knowing the things I do, I would be like,
well, Brittany, there's one way we could know what the things you do. Just fucking tell us. But you won't. Because there is nothing else.
That girl has lost her mind. I would probably wonder if there was more to it. But yeah, I mean, at first glance, I would think that I'm full of shit. I mean, I even said that to you. You know, I think I would think that. A lot of people, they push it too far. And I think that at least I'll at least say this about you. You have not been out there accusing me of doing anything. You haven't been out there like some of them saying, oh, well, Britney was looking at images too. Britney was doing things like that. I think that when they go that far, they're really pushing it. Like, to an extent, they can say what they want to say about Josh's charges. He's been convicted. They can say all they want to say about him. But to like put me into it and say that I would ever harm a child or look at images of children being harmed or anything like that, that's just pushing it. I mean, that's so far-fetched.
Yeah, you know, I do want to remind people these are his crimes. You've not been charged with anything. But I do believe, and I've told you this, I believe you've been lied to by your husband. That's just my opinion. Mm-hmm. I cover a lot of cases like this, and that's just what I thought. Now, obviously, you have a different stance behind that, but that's just my opinion. I don't believe your husband. I've said I don't believe you, but at the same time, I think you truly believe what you believe. But I'm not convinced you have the whole truth. But that's just, I'm not going to be disrespectful in that way. I've seen, people make videos about you with wild accusations, and I do think that is a little bit unfair. But you, listen, you kind of embrace the drama a little bit, don't you?
Yeah, I used to not be like that either. Like if you go back to our page beforehand, you would probably never see anything hateful about anyone ever. But when they came after my career, and I had a massive career to uphold too. So whenever all of this came out, I had to watch what I said, and I had to, I pretty much wrote a letter to State Farm saying that I wouldn't say anything, that I would keep my mouth shut. And so when I lost everything that I ever had, I was like, oh, y'all can see real Britney now. There
you go. Y'all can see real Britney now. What would that imply? That what we were seeing before? What's the opposite of real? Fake. Her words, not mine. Y'all can see real Britney now. To be transparent, y'all are seeing the real me all the time. I'm never fake.
Come at me, I'll come at you. I mean, yeah, I don't mind the Chris Hansen thing. His wife won't stop. She's come at me over and over. It's like, okay, give a dog a bone. Here you go. I'll give you what you want. I did notice they deleted their videos about me after that. I've come for another true crime creator, and I went at her hard. And she may be on here. Hey, girl, we're cool now. She chose to delete all videos about me, and I deleted the one I made about her. I think it's just, and I just don't play when it comes to people. I'm not playing with people.
I'm sure Chris Hansen is scared of her now. Don't y'all think that? Yeah, no, that's ridiculous. Also, Britney, I've not deleted any videos of you, nor will I, and I'll make more.
Anymore, because no one has the most perfect past. To be honest, I don't have anything they can come after. If you can say so many things about me, but it can't get much worse than being known as being a pedo. So it can't get much worse. So I don't care. I just go after people now if they come after me.
I agree with that.
And people just, with the far-fetched stuff, like the things saying that I would be involved, it's just sick. I mean, it's just, I can sue them. Like, as you know, we've talked about this. I could sue the hell out of them, but I don't go that far. So they're lucky I'm just coming at them with videos.
A lot of people have asked this, and I don't want to get into the drama stuff.
Yeah.
But a lot of people are asking this. What about this Facebook moms group?
Yeah, I made a video on that. So I actually posted a screenshot too on my video. Person who I'm friends with, who was a client of mine.
The only thing I'll ever say, and I may be wrong, but I agree, the moms group thing, I wouldn't think much of that. I don't think there was a lot to that.
Messaged me and said, hey girl, I invited you to join the Mama Bears group. It's a little mom's group out of Birmingham. She was like, I invited you for insurance referrals, because in that group they would say, hey, who do you use for insurance agent? So she invited me, I accepted it. There are a ton of non-moms in these mom groups. I actually talked to several today. There's actually an attorney that's in the Orange Beach area who loves to blast me, who's also in mom groups and not a mom. That's not uncommon. All I was in there for were insurance referrals. And let's be honest, all this group is about are women bitching about their mother-in-laws, bitching about their husbands they don't like, whose husbands are probably doing very far worse crimes in the other room while they're bitching on a Facebook group. They're not in there.
Sorry, I was getting tons of text messages during this live saying she's live. No, that was one of them.
They're posting their children's behinds. They're not posting, their children's chests or anything like that.
We're going to have to leave it there for just a minute.
Yeah, it's not photos. So I don't know why people thought I'd be in there scouting. I was trying to get insurance. That's what I do.
Fair enough.
I mean, let's be honest.
I'll at first that just does not sound like a legitimate reason, but it's fair enough. Look, do you when someone found out that I was going to have this live with you, they sent me this message. They said, "Why are you allowing that snake on your platform?"
Yeah.
Do you feel, what is your motive? A lot of people believe that you have some sort of motive behind all of this. And do you feel that's fair for someone to think of you as a snake?
I mean, everyone can have their opinion. I understand why they would say that. until you're on my lives every day and you hang out with me on my lives. I mean, I was live for like 8 hours yesterday, and you get to see, I think that's when a lot of people started coming around and seeing who I am as a person. It's fair to think whatever someone wants to think. I don't really have a motive. You know, I'm not that vindictive. If somebody keeps pressing my buttons, yeah, I'll come after them, but I'm really not that vindictive. I don't have a motive. I've been on social.
All right, that was the end of that one.
I'm trying to think of the way to word my next point here to avoid you. By the way, I want to remind folks she's not going to talk about evidence or details of her husband's case at the recommendation of their attorneys. So you guys have to understand that, whether you like it or not, that's just where she's at in this, and we have to understand that.
No, I don't understand that.
You said you go through
because it doesn't make sense.
But what about those children that go through this? You get what I mean? Like, I guess my question is, why is he worth it to put him above the children that go through this? Does that make sense?
No, that's a great question. No one is worth going through that for. And I think, if anything, that's why I wouldn't stand by someone who would harm children. There is not a soul out there. Listen, I always say my baby sister, if you follow me, you know, is my pride and my joy. I would absolutely end her life if she were involved in something that harmed children. Like, I wouldn't stand for that. I wouldn't. So no one would be ever worth anyone, like defending anyone over people who harm children. No one. And I mean, listen, even Josh agrees on that. Like, we have tried and tried. We were going to join these advocacy groups and things to help during, but we were advised not to do that. Wouldn't be a good look. You don't want to be involved in anything that has to do with children when you're going through this stuff. I would do.
Pretty sure a child advocacy group is not going to allow someone indicted of these crimes to be a part of them. I hope she is not that dumb that they actually had that conversation. I really do. Because if she is, her IQ is way lower than I even thought.
Anything in the world to join advocacy groups to help this shit and to help these kids get off the internet, like to shut down these discords and all these things that like people say that they're on. That's brutal. I don't want any child to be harmed. So no, if I thought Josh were guilty, I wouldn't be standing by him. I've said that from day one.
Fair enough.
She didn't answer his question, by the way. That's not what he was asking. She misunderstood, but I understand.
You've said so you've gone hard at a lot of people, and one of the things that personally bothered me is there's a couple of videos you've made where you make a comment to people saying, if you're not a perfect 10, then don't come after me.
Yeah.
I mean, do you truly stand? Is that truly how you believe?
So this is the thing. My whole point of it was never that I was a perfect 10. I mean, listen, I'll pick myself apart all day. It wasn't that I was saying I was a perfect 10. My whole thing is, you better not have anything wrong with you. You better have a clean slate. You better have no family members with drama.
Hold on, I got to ask, because I got somebody that says, I was 100% against her until I read everything. What did you read? I've read the whole case file. Nothing questionable in it. And I'm not going to hate on you. I legit want to know what you have read that is questionable. Tell me something that's questionable. I'm legit asking you because I've read the case file numerous times. Fully over and over again. I'm a very experienced detective. I've been teaching investigators, detectives, and agents for over 10 years, traveling the country. I mean, there's no telling how many case files I've read, how many cases I've been a part of. No, nobody call her names. I'm talking about the sh in the TikTok. I'm asking her, and I want to hear her out. Y'all calm down. Because it's a pretty cut and dry case file. Again, I don't know what would be questionable, but I'd like to know what someone would think is questionable. And don't stop there when you say there's a lot that's questionable to me, and I'm asking you to tell me one thing, which I think is a logical question for me to ask. If there's a lot, then it'd be very simple for you to tell me at least one thing. No, and I'm not hating on you. Like I said, I'm not hating on you, and I just told people not to call you names. That's ridiculous. I won't. But again, tell me again if there's a lot that's questionable to you. It wouldn't be hard. It's not going to be hard at all for you to tell me one thing that's questionable. Like, I'm not going to dog you. I'm not going to. I mean, I'm trying to have a adult, legit conversation. Because you're the first person I've ever heard say that. All right, we're going to move on. Hopefully she says something. If she doesn't, then again, there's nothing questionable. Again, that's not an answer of there's a lot. When I ask you what is question, there's a lot. That doesn't answer my question at all.
Absolutely nothing. And yeah, I will, if you're going to comment, because the thing is, I think the part you don't see, Robbie, is that in my comment sections, it's you're ugly, you look old, you're wrinkly as hell. I mean, it's absolutely coming at my appearance. So my point for that part, hey girl, is that if you're going to come after my appearance, you better be hot.
That is not what she said in the video she made.
Hot as hell. That's my point. It's not just.
And by the way, if you come after my appearance, I'm just not going to listen to you. We're not going to have a bickering back and forth of like, because that's what a normal adult does. Her acting like that she's only saying that stuff because people are calling her that. That's what you do when you're 15 or 12, not when you're a full-grown adult.
Just Robbie goes out here and makes videos about true crime and things like that. I'm going to attack his appearance. I'm going to say, Robbie, you gray-haired bitch. You know, I'm not. No, that's not. It's if Robbie is coming after my appearance. Oh, I'm going to tear.
And I've never in my life gone after her appearance. Again, that's not what I do.
Tear you a new one because I know that's where girls are most sensitive. And listen, I'm your biggest fan. I am like everybody's biggest fan. Everybody's biggest mental health advocate and all that. But I will give somebody a complex real quick. Because, I mean, I get torn apart every day. You can't hurt my feelings. But I'm like, if you think it's okay to go on the internet and talk shit about people's teeth and everything else, I'm for sure attacking your appearance. There's no doubt about it.
So what's next for you and Josh?
For the record, she is literally the only person I hear talking about people's appearance. Yeah, she just said she's a mental health advocate. But hold on. We got to play that back.
Biggest mental health advocate and all that, but I will give somebody a complex.
I'm the biggest mental health advocate and all that, but I will give somebody a complex fast. What do we call that? What's the little word? What's the word we call that? What is that? What's the definition of that?
Real quick, because I mean, I get torn apart every day. You can't hurt my feelings. But I'm like, if you think it's okay to go on the internet and talk shit about people's teeth and everything else, I'm for sure attacking your appearance. There's no doubt about it.
So what's next for you and Josh? How does...
Now, this is what I want you to pay closest attention to with her without realizing it. She is telling us he's not going to get out of this, and she knows that, and she's accepted that. So pay attention to the things she says here.
This at all? Do you ever question yourself that just maybe he is lying? Do you ever, does that sit in your mind?
I did in the beginning. I for sure did. There were times where I was like, be so for real right now. I mean, I wasn't blindly going into it.
And that's back to there were times I was like, be so for real right now. But yet her motive for reaching out to him when she saw he got arrested was, I knew he would never do anything like this. And I told him, then I'll stand by your side through all of this because I know you didn't do it. Which one is it?
Like, I want proof of this. I want proof of this. I would call the attorney. I made him give me access because the attorney couldn't talk to me for a while. I was like, now I want access to talk to the attorney and ask him everything. I want all the details.
Meaning she did not believe him. If she fully believed him, she wouldn't ask for those things.
And so he promised. That was one condition of getting married. I want full access to attorney, any documents, anything. Because I guess the indictment came after we got married. So, that was a lot. That was a whole lot for us both to take in. So I just made sure I had access to everything from the discovery to all the reports, everything. And, what's next is going to be, it's a lot to think of. You have to know that the rest of your life, whether he's cleared of this or he's not, he will always be known as a pedophile. Always. I mean, it's a tough thing to take in. I mean, it's really tough. I mean, you got to think also, even if you were arrested of something, cleared 2 weeks later, I'm sure you've seen the Mobile investigator who's going through this.
Okay, arrested and then cleared 2 weeks later is a huge difference than pleading guilty in state court and going to prison for it. Those are not the same. And she is trying to compare those two. Not the same at all.
I don't even think that guy's guilty. And it's just like, if you are ever charged with something, you're guilty forever. It doesn't matter if you're cleared. People always still think you're a pedo. So I think what's next is
That's
just
not necessarily
figuring out
true
how we're going to get
either,
through this. Obviously, we're working on legal things to potentially get this handled. But if not, we'll figure it out. Hell, if we went through the past couple months, we can get through the rest of this.
People are wanting me to ask this, and I...
Investigator who's going through this. I don't even think that guy's guilty. And it's just like, if you are ever charged with something, you're guilty forever. It doesn't matter if you're cleared. People always still think you're a pedo. So I think what's next is just figuring out how we're going to get through this. Obviously, we're working on legal things to potentially get this handled. But if not, we'll figure it out.
To potentially get this handled, but if not, we'll figure it out. She's accepted this is not going to get changed. And again, that's why she's saying that like that. And that was my point on that. She knows that there's nothing to prove it. Hold on. I've seen a lot of people respond to a page, and I'm trying to find Paige's comment. If somebody, if Ahmad can pin her comment, because I'm just curious of what she has said, because I can't find it. Oh, there it is. Britney does not have a kid fetish. It's not really relevant whether she does or not at this point, to be honest. But advocating for a convicted child predator that did the things he did, that uploaded the images he did and downloaded the images he did, and what he said he did to those images, makes you just as bad. Again, I don't care who you are. If you participate in that activity, I'm done with you, and I'm going to speak out against you. I don't care if you were my best friend. I don't care if you were my spouse. I don't care if you were my child. That's a line you don't cross. I'm not going to be out advocating for you. I don't care who you are. Why is that hard for everyone to understand? But she loves him. She's harassed and she's being called out. There's a difference. I hope Paige doesn't have children, because she obviously doesn't see a problem with what Britney Stapleton is doing, and that bothers me. And that's a huge red flag. Let me tell you something. If you have friends or family that support Britney Stapleton through this and they have children, you need to keep your children away from them. Now, that doesn't mean they all are child predators, but that means I would not trust my children around them because they do not care that someone is a child predator. Does that make sense? This man admitted and pled guilty to the most horrible crime you can commit. Anyone advocating for him is a piece of shit and worthless to society. Anyone advocating for him has no business in this society. Because you're either one, completely ignorant and have an IQ of 50, or you don't have a problem with people hurting children in that way. Why are you dragging Britney? Well, I mean, I think I just made my point clear on that. She is worthless to society. But if anyone knows Paige, keep your children away from her. It's crazy to me that anyone would support her. Like, I literally cannot comprehend why anyone would support her, other than if, again, they have an IQ of 50, or they don't see anything wrong with it. And more than likely, it's they don't see anything wrong with it. Paige, do you know what kind of images he uploaded meaning he had the images and he put them on his computer and uploaded them to the internet. Do you have any idea of the images that he said he pleasured himself to? And Britney is advocating for him. And Britney is not a freaking victim, even though she plays one on TikTok. And you're acting as if she's a victim in this. Let me tell you who the victims are, the children that was in those images, that their life has changed for the rest of their life. That's who I stand up for. That's who I advocate for. While you're advocating for Britney. Like, what is you're the people. Some of us play bullies. Bullies? Yeah, I'll bully any child predator and child predator advocate any fucking day. Excuse my language. Yes, I will. And I am proud of that. And I can because I'm big and bad. But yes, I will bully people who hurt children. But Paige, you are the people I was talking about earlier. What the hell is wrong with you people following her and supporting her? You literally don't care about what happened to these children that people like him are the cause of. It blows my mind. And I want to say it to be clear. If anyone knows this Paige in real life, keep your children away from her. I don't think I can be more clear. Because she does not care that these things happen to these children. Paige probably is Britney, now that y'all say that. Now I look like an idiot. I'm sitting there arguing with a fake person. Thanks for pointing that out. It felt good to get that out, though, to be honest with you. All right, let's move on.
If we went through the past couple months, we can get through the rest of this.
People are wanting me to ask this, and I have no clue what this is in reference to.
I can't say anything about that police report. What I can already, is that what you're about to say?
I can't say anything about that police report. I've read the entire police report on my videos before. Why can't she say anything about the police report? What?
Give me access, because the attorney couldn't talk to me. I just made sure I had access to working on legal things to potentially get this handled. But if not, we'll figure it out. Hell, if we went through the past couple months, we can get through the rest of this.
Such a hard
People
life.
wanted me to ask this, and
tough.
I have no clue what this is in reference to.
I can't say anything about that police report. What I can already, is that what you're about to say?
I have no clue. I said bodies are and bodies. I don't know.
In the police report, it said people are people, bodies are bodies.
In the police report, it said, no, that was Josh's statement. Not the police's statement. Josh said that in his statement.
Bodies. I have called, I have proof right here on my phone. I have contacted Cartersville Police Department. I've contacted Bartow County Police Department. I've contacted Homeland Security. I have contacted Georgia Bureau of Investigations, and I asked for body cam footage. No one can provide it. It's gone. Josh swears he never said those.
I'm sure he swears he never said those. But there were 9 agents and detectives in that room when he said it. 9. And some of them were Department of Homeland Security agents with ICAC. It don't have to be on video when 9 different investigators hear it said. As I told Britney during our interview, 9 police officers are not going to get together. Well, half federal agents. There were federal agents, state agents, and local in there. They're all not all going to get together and say, you know what, let's make this up and say he said this. That doesn't happen.
That line.
Okay, so okay.
I promise you, I didn't just blindly believe him. I was like, be so fucking for real. Did you say
Okay.
this or not? So yeah, that's what they're talking about.
Okay, so your husband apparently said,
In other words, it did not surprise her that he said that.
bodies are while being arrested?
Well, whenever they said when he was questioned, they said, I don't know what the question was. I'm not going to misspeak on it, but they basically stated that Josh said people are people, bodies are bodies, which is sick. I mean, think about it, sick. So yeah, I've went through the depths of hell to try to get this body cam footage, 9 plus arresting officers, plus 1 camera in his face. He even told me which officer had the camera so that I could contact them and try to say, I want body cam footage, I want camera footage. It's not around.
Well, I will work on that. I will work on that. Let me ask you this. If he did say that, does that change anything?
Changes a lot of things.
No.
Well, interesting.
Did you notice how she's been talking and did you notice how light she said that? It changes a lot of things. No, it doesn't. Play that back so you can catch it there.
If he did say that, does that change anything?
Changes a lot of things.
Barely moved her mouth. Changes a lot of things. She went from this to changes a lot of things. No, it doesn't, because you know he said it.
Well, interesting. I honestly had no clue about that, so I will work on that, and I will try to find if anything in regards to that. Yeah. I'm going to try and give people a moment to ask any questions if we can be respectful. Listen, some of y'all are hating on me. I don't care. Look, I stopped caring a long time ago what people thought of me.
He did a good interview. Now, I think he didn't know enough about the case to be interviewing her, and that's frustrating. And he didn't push back in certain times where I would have, but he did a good interview.
And so, look, I think it's more productive to have a respectful conversation and still disagree. I don't agree with Britney. I just don't. I think she needs to move on and leave this man. But she knows that. Yeah. And so, let's see. Sorry. So we've got quite a crowd here. So let's see.
You never go live, do you, Robbie?
Huh?
You never go live, do you?
I don't do live. So no. So
you're not. These comment sections are insane.
Yeah. I don't go live very often. We've already addressed this. Some people are asking why did he take the guilty plea if he didn't do it, and she's addressed that this was at the advice of their attorney.
Naturally.
I also will say I did a repost, and she didn't directly address me. She's talking about me in it. I did a repost. Rachel, damn, now I can't remember her last name. She is an attorney out of Florida, and she made.
The world's a little blurry. Yes, he did. He did make that statement. I've got it. Hold on. I should be able to pull it up. I'll pull this up. This is still shots I took from True Crime Megan's one of her videos she did on the Stapletons. I've got the full report somewhere, but I was trying to find it earlier, and I don't know what file I put it in, but this is the same. This is pretty much the same stuff. I mean, this is one of the reports. On Thursday, April 23rd, 2020, I received an ICAC referral from the Georgia Bureau of Investigation. The information revealed 326 explicit photos of children had been uploaded from the IP address, blah, 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 Cartersville, Georgia, starting on January 24th of 2018. According to the tip, according to subpoenaed information from Comcast, the IP address owner was Joshua Stapleton of Cartersville, Georgia. The username, blah, blah, blah. Searched for any subjects named Joshua Stapleton living in Cartersville and found blah, blah, blah. A property check was conducted. This is mumbo gibberish here. Further check of Facebook was done. And a Facebook page for Mr. Stapleton was located, matching his driver's license photo, showing him an agent owner of State Farm Bureau, Cartersville, Georgia. At this time, surveillance was conducted on the residence, and Mr. Stapleton was observed putting stuff into a white GMC Z71 bearing blah, blah, blah tag. Due to these findings, I obtained a search warrant through the Bartow County Magistrate Court. Well, hold on. Okay, here's what we're looking for. Here's this statement. On Thursday, April 23rd, 2020, Joshua Stapleton was interviewed by Special Agent Jim Reeves, I don't know how you pronounce it, and me at his residence in Cartersville, Georgia. I read Mr. Stapleton his Miranda rights waiver, and he agreed to speak with us without counsel present. During the interview, it was learned that Mr. Stapleton was the only person living at the residence. Mr. Stapleton also provided an email address of blank, which was almost an exact match to the reported email address in the cyber tip line report. sent to ICAC. After explaining to Mr. Stapleton why we were here, he admitted to viewing child, but claimed he did not have an interest in children. Despite stating he may have to the images. Mr. Stapleton could not recall how he accessed the images and claimed he just clicked on a series of links in an internet search browser and the images came up. During the interview, Mr. Stapleton gave consent to search his phone that was left in his truck. Upon reviewing the phone, there was no child found on the phone at this time. He then claimed all the viewing was conducted on his laptop that was in an office area inside the residence. Now, ask yourself, is someone going to make those statements if they're not true? Anyone? I don't have an interest in children, but I mean, I may have pleasured myself to those images. And he made the statement, no, I looked at all the images from my laptop. How can you find Megan? It's no, True Crime Mama, which she's awesome too, but they're different people. It's True Crime with Megan is this one. These are watermarked by True Crime Mama because she is the one that got these. But this is True Crime with Megan that's posting them. So again, who would make any of those statements like that if they weren't true? No one. He admitted to viewing child, but claimed he did not have an interest in children. Yeah. Despite stating he may have to the images. All right, let me see. I've got more. And I've got, like I said, I've got the things without her picture that where we can see everything somewhere, and I'll get those for the next live. But here's another interview was concluding. Mr. Stapleton stated he did not think it was against the law to view child He did not think it was against the law. What he said. And again, he uploaded 326 explicit photos. And he wants us to think he accidentally clicked on something. And then when he accidentally clicked on it, he goes, oh, wow. Interesting. And it made him very happy, apparently. So happy that he pleasured himself. This is who Britney Stapleton is taking up for and is advocating for. Description of the indictment. I've got the actual indictment here, but I can't put that up. It's because it describes the images, and they're horrible. Again, we're not talking about. We're talking about the most horrible images you could ever you couldn't even think of. I don't even want to read them again right now myself. Yeah, I'm not putting that up there. Jesus Christ. Oh, it makes me. There's a special place for that guy. And I will warn you, don't go try to find the official indictments that are specific. Just don't. You won't sleep tonight. And I'm not exaggerating. That's how bad they are. I'm telling you. And as I told Britney, it's the worst things I've ever read. And that's saying a lot because I've seen a lot of sick stuff in my career. I've had a lot of sick interviews with some evil, evil people. Reading those details is the sickest, worst thing I've ever read. There's not much that I can lose sleep over now after everything I've seen and dealt with in my career. That every time. Like I wish I hadn't even started reading that again right there. I'm telling you, it's stuff you could not even imagine what they were doing to these children in these pictures. Yes, the images were on his personal laptop, and he had uploaded over 360 of those so other child predators could view them, and he admitted to pleasuring himself to those. Right quick, I'll play you what Britney said during our interview. If you've not seen this video, when I told her it was the sickest, worst thing, some of the worst things I'd ever read in my life, I want you to hear her response. I'm showing you. All right, y'all. Let me break this. I'm showing you the two most disturbing things Britney Stapleton said during our interview. Two sentences that tell you everything you need to know. I'm Agent D. Baker. She answers with, "Oh, please." That is classic. She literally acts like ears. In life, not the innocent children need to know about the predators and not the adults who defend them. He signed a written statement saying it's one of the most disturbing statements I've ever seen in my career.
Oh, please. You have not looked at some shit I've looked at then, and I'm not.
This is what I'm talking. There you go. That's her response. Oh, please. You haven't seen some shit I've seen. That's very telling. She spoke. Oh, please. And I care more about getting my husband home. Tell you everything you need to know about where her heart really is and about who she is. I'm Agent D. Baker, and this is Truth Recon. And I will always stand child victims, not the predators, and not the adults who defend them. He signed a written statement saying it's one of the most disturbing statements I've ever seen in my career.
Oh, please. You have not looked at some shit I've looked at then, and I'm not.
This is what I'm talking about when I don't know where she went.
I'm right here.
This is what I'm talking about when I say you continuously downplay his crimes. Have you ever spoken up for the victims of those crimes?
I know that you're playing Justice Boy right now. I get it. I understand. No, get it. I get it. I get it. This is the thing you need to understand. The reason that I'm so removed from that side of it because I care more about getting my husband home now who did not commit those crimes.
I'm showing you the two most disturbing things. I care more about getting my husband home from prison than that. That's what she said. You heard it from her. Again, I'm not putting words in her mouth. And then you saw her immediate reaction when I said it's one of the most disturbing, sickest, worst things I've ever read. And again, that's saying a lot. And you saw her response. Oh, please. You ain't seen some of the shit I've seen. That's pretty telling. That's a good question. How does she say he's not guilty when he admitted he viewed and pleasured himself? It's a really good question. And one of her supporters paged earlier, and then, I mean, someone else on mine in the comments earlier was saying they understood that they didn't support her at all before, but now they see because there's some things that are, I can't remember how she worded it, questionable. What's questionable about that? You don't have to read anything else you don't have to know anything else about the case file. Just that one report. What's questionable about that? Every person that follows her, especially every person that fully supports her, should be forced to sit down and read those indictments word for word. And if they don't show emotion reading those, they are as sick as he and she is. Again, who makes those statements he made unless they act like you? That's not just something you're going to accidentally say. I'm catching up on some comments real quick. Yes, and y'all heard Britney in her interview with Harvey last night that we just played. You heard her say, I've read every bit of the case file. I've read everything. So she's saying she has read the description in those indictments. She's saying I didn't interview her. I just freaking played it. I've got the full interview. What are you talking about? She knows I interviewed her. She was in, and there were I think there were around 1,000 people on the live when I interviewed her. No, he's not going to get an appeal. There's nothing to appeal. Y'all tell me you're joking. Tell me she's not saying I didn't interview her. Texas Movement, who are you talking to?
Copy of all the comments because I can't open up someone's live when I'm on here, but I can through Carlos's account.
Hold on, I'm going to pull this up. Oh, I see all of Britney's. Let's talk about Madison because I don't know her. You know why? Because she's not real. If you can find Madison, let me know. I'll talk to her. She's not real. Yup. Hold on. Every one of you should be forced to read the indictments on him. The descriptions of the photos that he pleasured himself to. Like, what is wrong with you all? There's something wrong with all of you. Yes, prepubescent children. We're not talking about teenagers, not even close.
Have a copy of all the.
All right, team, this is from tonight, the video I'm about to play.
Comments because I can't open up someone's live when I'm on here, but I can through Carlos's account. I don't hear anything on here.
I'll pull this up. This is from still shots I took.
It was Melody.
Megan's.
It was this crackhead.
One of her videos she did on the Stapletons.
Smiley. Desiree said she's over here screen recording your live. You tell him, Desiree. Hey, Desiree. You're such a fan. Hey, girlfriend. What you want? Would you maybe like to lay down and go sleep? You've already had so many Cheetos. I know. You don't need no more Cheetos. I love that, Janelle. I love that he's bringing somebody into this who we are on good terms. He looks like such an idiot.
Who's she talking about? Who am I bringing into this that she's on good terms with?
Wait.
I'll tell you this, if she's on good terms with him, I'm not
Hi,
going on
Shelly.
good terms
How's
with
it
him.
going? Smiley, what do you need answers to? Stop asking dumb questions. Yeah, I feel like this one dries out a little bit faster than the Medicube. Thanks for the follow, Allie. Debbie, I see you. You're so good. Thank you, Rachel. He did not interview anyone, by the way. Yes. Yes, I am. Is Desiree still in here? Desiree, yes, I am, because someone is in there who is under a restraining order. So, yes, I'm absolutely recording comments. Tell them that, too. Tell them the person who's in there under a restraining order is not allowed to be speaking my name. So, while you're in there, yeah, she is. Sugar biscuits. I'm over this. I can't be talking shit with a face mask on.
What is she talking about? That she has a restraining order against someone and they're not allowed to mention her name? Never in my life heard of shit like that. Not allowed to mention her name. Like, what? That's funny. Brittany, sue me. I guarantee you I've got more money than you'll ever have, and I've got way better lawyers than you'll ever have. I know that for a fact. It's weird. I'm one of the few people that has not got a letter from you. It's weird.
Talk shit without my face mask on. Ruining my face mask. Hi, Bridget. How are you? Allie, you will love this robe so much.
Is there more to this team, or is that?
Well, you get Carl Bob's. Carl.
She just said that I didn't interview
Thanks,
anyone.
Kier. So sweet. I know, Debbie. Me too. It's so funny.
Okay, that was it, I guess. Well, I did in fact interview her. Again, there were over 1,000 people on my live when it happened. And I just played you one clip from it. And I have the whole interview, team, correct me if I'm wrong, on YouTube, right? So you can see the entire interview with her and me on YouTube, on my podcast channel. Which it should be on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. Since she says I did not interview her. And by the way, if anyone knows who Madison is, I'm curious myself, because I don't. Well, it's a trick question. Madison doesn't exist. That was proven. Oh, there's more. Hold on. All right, we'll play this one, and then I got to go for tonight. It's getting late. But I want to see what she says in this one.
Too, if I'm such a bad person. Because you know what's funny? People are like, Chris Hansen follows you because he thinks you're a pedo. You know what's really crazy? Chris Hansen could quite literally just search my name when he needed to find out something about me. He chooses to follow me, but he's so against me and doesn't want me profiting off this app. Thanks, Megan. Appreciate you so much. So sweet.
In one of her videos that we were watching the other night, she referred to Chris Hansen as a, what was it, washed up journalist. Think about how ignorant that is of her to say. One of the most decorated investigative journalists ever. Literally owns his own TV network. And she called him a washed up journalist. Oh, Jesus.
Right, Donna? Like, I got my people in here. I know, actually. You think the loneliness will ever get to the point of seeking companionship with someone else? I think that's a really great question. No. 5 plus years ago, yeah, probably. I mean, I'm 31 now. I think that, once you know yourself, you know your relationship, I think you're good. But yeah, I mean, hell, if this would have happened when I was 21, yeah, for sure probably would have been like, ooh, a little bit of male attention. Now, not to be hateful, but like most of these men that are in my DMs just disgust me because they're such idiots. I'm not, Jada.
Any guy in her DMs disgusts me as well. I agree with her there. Jesus Christ. Like there's something... They need to be investigated as well. Any guy in her DMs should be investigated.
I'm crying. Are my eyes watering? I was just wiping them with this makeup wipe. Thanks, Real Addiction.
No, that was not much. All right. We'll probably have more Friday night on my live. I didn't interview anyone. Yes, Z-Girl's mama, you can. Can I explain what I said the other day about hiring someone to get you back across the border? Oh, when I saw there's some, and I don't want to name a specific one, but you can find them. There are companies that they have like prior tier 1 operators working for them, and you can hire them and they will send their operators into Mexico or wherever and to retrieve your family or friend. Not cheap. It's not cheap, but depending on what kind of situation your family's in or friend is in, I mean, obviously it could be worth it for sure. But you can find those. If you can't find any, just personal message me and I'll give you a few. I don't want to mention any specifically on here, but there's quite a few. Or if you find one and you have questions if they're really good or if they're legit, send me that and I can definitely tell you yes or no in that. Because you want to be careful. No, not a mule. We're not talking about sneaking someone across the border. We're talking about if you find yourself in a bad situation in another country, there are people that will come and get you and get you out safely. Is that what you're talking about, Z-Girl's mama? Your cousin is in Baja. Yeah. Message me, Z-Girl's mama, and I'll get back to you. Probably won't be tonight, but I will first thing in the morning. I'll get back to you, and I'll help you out. And I'm not past going myself if you pay enough. I'll go get them. I'll be glad to. I need some adrenaline and excitement back in my life. All right. Yeah, it's getting late. I need to go. But I appreciate each and every one of you being on here, and I really mean that. It means a lot to me. I know we talked about some really dark stuff tonight, and it's not always the most fun, but it is stuff that needs to be discussed, and she needs to be called out as much as possible. People need to understand who they're fully supporting. It's sick. But other than the other parts of the live, I definitely enjoyed, and I enjoy all the discussions for sure. If you're not following me or subscribing, please make sure you do those things. You can find my full podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, and Rumble. So go check those out. You can find me on all the platforms, Agent D Baker, except on Facebook, and it's just my full name, Derek, Derek Baker. But make sure you go follow me on those, especially YouTube. Again, you can watch my full podcast episodes on there. We have a Patreon account that will be up and going very, very soon, and I'll put all that out when that comes. And there's going to be a lot of cool stuff on there that I think that a lot of people are interested in for sure, because I've been being asked about it a lot. But other than that, I hope you all have a great rest of your Wednesday night, and I will see y'all back Friday around 8 p.m. Central Time. Unless there's some major big update in the Nancy Guthrie case or in Mexico, I'll probably jump on live tomorrow if there's some big updates or something like that. But other than that, I'll see y'all back Friday night. So I'll see y'all then. And again, I hope y'all have a great rest of your Wednesday night and good rest of your week. Welcome back to Truth or Recon. I'm Agent D Baker, a retired narcotics detective, SWAT team member, and U.S. Navy combat veteran of OEF and OIF. With years of real world experience in high stakes environments, I have seen firsthand the dangers that lurk both in our communities and now increasingly online. These conversations can get raw, they can get heavy, and sometimes they may not be suitable for children. So consider this your disclaimer. But if you care about truth, justice, and accountability, then you're in the right